And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire. And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. We finally made it. It's week 0 of the high school football season, and a bunch of our local teams will be in action. I would say maybe 75-80% of the teams in the Inland Sports Show coverage area will be in action this Thursday or Friday, and actually even a couple on Saturday night here in week 0. A little bit later in the show, we're going to check in with Liberty head coach Adam Contreras. We're going to talk about the family life with Coach Contreras and some football as well. We also have the return of the Kin Sporting Goods must-see game, and it is a doozy right out of the gate. Plus, we'll highlight some of the top games coming up in week 0. If you haven't seen it, we've got an interview with Elsinore head coach Randy Kirschman as he gets the Tigers ready for the season as they go to the Mountain Pass League this upcoming year. But we're going to start things off in the Citrus Belt League. We always hit the CBL real hard, and call me old-fashioned, but it's not an Inland Sports Show until we check in with Kurt Bruich, the head football coach for the Citrus Valley Blackhawks. He's got a younger team. They won the CBL title last year. They had a great senior class, but as you're about to hear, they do have a younger team across the board. But he likes what he's got. They've got a lot of talent. They just need some experience. They've got a scrimmage later this week. It's going to be at Riverside Poly. There's a couple other teams as well. And then next week in week 1, they'll kick off the year against a very tough Etiwanda squad. So here's our exclusive interview with the man himself, Kurt Bruich from Citrus Valley. Inland Sports. And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show with week 0 now this week. One of the teams that will be having a scrimmage to get ready for their opener in week 1 will be the Citrus Valley Blackhawks. Back on the show, this guy has always been so generous with his time. It is Kurt Bruich from the Citrus Valley Blackhawks. And Coach, again, thank you so much for hopping on the show. We always love talking high school football, and call me old-fashioned, but it's not football season until we check in with Coach B and see how the team's doing.
I thought I was going to get out of it this year, Pep. I was like, he didn't get me. He must have forgot. But no, here we are again, right at the last minute. So,
is this a fun time of the year? Is it an anxious time of the year? Like, you're 0-0. The possibilities are endless. I mean, is it exciting?
It's always exciting because, one, you haven't played anybody, so you may think you're good and you may not be. Or you may think the other way, that you're not very good and find out, that you are. But bottom line is you don't know. So playing yourself is just kind of what it is, So, it's good to see all the improvement because, it's not only the starters that get a lot of reps. It's the second and third stringers. We have the freshmen with us as well. So getting to see them improve is daily, getting stronger, faster in the weight room and, all that kind of stuff is really cool. The real test starts coming, when the wins and losses come in, because we all know losing isn't very fun. So, we'll see what happens.
All right, so you scrimmage at Riverside Poly. There's a couple other teams that are going to be there later this week. Besides coming out just healthy, what are you hoping to see from your Blackhawks in that scrimmage?
Execution. Obviously, hoping they have the ability to do what they've been coached to do, execute kind of a game plan or a script or, stuff like that. Are we able to create turnovers on defense? How are we on special teams? Because we're going to do some, kickoff return, punt return, and some PAT stuff. You want to see it all, and you want to see it go well, obviously, and you just hope that nobody's going to go off book and start doing their own thing, and you hope that the little inter squad scrimmage that you just had kind of takes care of all those things, because you get to play it at home and they know their family's going to be there, and so a lot of times they go a little wild, so you kind of rope them back in for the scrimmage.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, at least since I've been covering you, did you ever play a week 0, or do you like to just play 10 weeks straight through and get to the playoffs?
It's not as much of not playing a week 0. I mean, I think a bye would be, awesome, so kids can heal, but I also think it's ineffective in a lot of ways, because if you follow the rules, you're in shorts and a helmet, and you're running around, and you're really not able to do a lot of, football activities if you follow the rules.
Yeah.
Which, I'm a big rule follower, so we would follow the rules, and it would almost be like I don't want to say a wasted week, but it just doesn't. It's just not my personality. I'd rather just go 10 in a row and rip them out,
Yeah. Well, Coach, you're looking at your schedule. Obviously, the CBL is always a lot of fun. And then that non-league schedule, you never shy away from anybody. And you'll have week 1 at Etiwanda. That's a huge game right out of the gate. Do you feel like you're going to learn a lot about your team, maybe coming out of that first game?
I mean, you never know. I know that Etiwanda is traditionally pretty good, and I know they have a really great coaching staff. So, we'll see, but at the end of the day, it's early. So what do they have? Who's sitting out? Who's sitting out for us? There's also a lot of factors involved, that we kind of went through last year that will be key as well, So our non-league schedules, they're always packed, not because I want them to be that way, because that's who will play us. Like, a lot of teams will not play us, and I say this every year. It was hell finding a scrimmage, Pep, to be honest with you. Thank you to Riverside Poly for including us in their scrimmage, because we're going to be scrimmaging ourselves again this week. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, because I think, I'd say maybe 75, maybe 80% of the teams play week 0, so you don't have a lot of options to get that work in.
Yeah, 100%, and that's kind of what we've gone to. And, there was a point this year where we couldn't find a game 5, and it was like, hey, we might have to go to a 0. And then at the last minute, the team from Vegas, Shadow Ridge, called us, and why not go to Vegas, So it made it so that we kept consistent. I have a few friends who are in the coaching business who don't like the 0 week either. And like, for example, Cito Smarin, who's now at Roland, but they had a 0 week scheduled already. So usually they're the ones we'll scrimmage, and probably starting next year, it'll be easy for us again with them over at Roland and doing a 1 through 10 as well. Mm-hmm.
So, Coach, what do you like about your team right now going into this scrimmage? What are you guys doing well? Where do you think you'll be strong this year?
That's a great question. The book's out. We don't have a lot of returners. The 24 class was very heavy, very dominant. We had a lot of kids start as freshmen, and they just graduated. So now we've had a lot of kids who are very, very good, but they've been waiting in the wings for these kids to graduate. Experience is not one of our strong points. My hope is that we can get confident early, and then I think we'll do all right. We are very massive in the offensive line again. I really like our running back, Damian Johnson. Our skill kids in general are pretty good. Our secondary's solid. We have some really long athletic defensive linemen. And our linebackers can tackle. So, I don't see a lot of big holes that were, glaring weaknesses at this point. But if I really had to go with strengths, I'd like to be able to run the ball a little bit better than we have in the past. I think we could become a really good run first, play action type team, and defensively, I'd like to bring a little more pressure than we have in the past, and kind of force offenses to do what we want them to do.
So with so many guys looking to get experience, would you say like this week's scrimmage or even the first 5 non-league games this season are maybe more important than past seasons, just because this team needs to kind of figure out, what they're all about before you get to league play?
Yeah, not so much a measuring stick, but a basically a way to get experience and confidence. I mean, that's what we're kind of looking at. And again, we're playing tough teams, and even if we have a bad night, let's take the small victories. Hey, this is what you did well. Obviously did X, Y, and Z poorly, but this is what you did well. This is what we've been working on all week. So, I mean, let's start there. That's kind of how I see it. I'm not conceding in any way, shape, or form. We're gonna be a problem for people, but we're gonna have to gain that experience through those preseason games.
You're talking about your non-league, and just, it's kind of a struggle to find teams out there that'll play you. Like you said, it's going to be fun to go to Vegas and play a team out there. But do you feel like it's kind of goes with the territory? Like the better you get, the more, the program is consistently good, that, that casting a net of opponents, like it's kind of a small net. There's not a lot of teams out there. I remember one year, I don't know if it was the year after COVID, you guys picked up Centennial, because nobody wanted to play them, and you're like, sure, bring it on. I mean, do you feel like it's tougher to schedule opponents? I mean, you guys won a CBL title last year.
Yeah, and it all has to do with end of the year rankings. I mean, based on where you are. I mean, because even if you beat a team badly who's ranked lower, you're still going to carry them because of your strength of schedule, and now their strength of schedule gets a little heavier. And so that kind of happened with us. Like, when we did play Centennial that year, like they carried us, into like Division II, because and they blew us out, but that kind of stuff happens. So why would you want to, if you're a Division VI team or lower, why would you want to play, a Division III or Division II team? So it's kind of separated, who you play. And then the worst part is there's a lot of like rematches in the playoffs, as well, because of that, where you played a team in the preseason or even in league, and now you have to play them again in the playoffs because it's kind of the way it's fared out, with the new competitive, non-competitive equity. So.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had other coaches from fall sports, such as like, say, volleyball, and they're like, where's the CIF, polls each week? And, playoff division, and we don't know. It's like, well, that's football's world the last couple of years. They've already been doing this. I mean, have you come around on it? Are you okay with it? Would you like to see it go back, or it just kind of is what it is?
It is what it is. I mean, I don't have any control over it. So things you can't control, right? You can't stress over. But I also, when we talk amongst guys in our league, we feel like if you win the league, you're going to go pretty high. You're going to be a pretty high division. In reality, your chances of winning CIF, if you're playing, just 2 years ago, we were playing Chaminade, and they had like 18 D1 commits and picked 2. It's like, man, this is going to be a rough run here. And even if we know exactly what they're going to do, they still have 18 D1 commits. It's a little tough to line up. So I mean that the higher, like the better you do it in the CBL, the higher you're going to go, and your chances in CIF. They're just not great.
Yeah, it's a weird deal because, like you mentioned, like if you win a league championship and you get put in a high division, let's say like your boy Cetos, man, it was awesome that Harupa Hills, they won a Southern Section title, they won a state championship, but at the end of the day, they just snuck into the playoffs. At the very end, they didn't have to win a league title. So I don't know if you have to pick one or the other now, but, a CIF or a league title. It's weird. I
mean, that's kind of the way it's going, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you either need to be 500 and fourth place or lower, or you need to be third place and 3 and 7. But I mean, if you really want to win a CIF title, if you look at all the divisions, I think they said like over half the teams ended the season who were in the CIF finals without a winning record. With a 500 or lower record. So I mean, the formula's kind of been set for us, whether you want to believe it or not, just based on the research. I mean, if you just go off last year, and again, I just read these places. I don't do all that research, but so I believe everything I read on the internet, so it made a good case as far as that went. So.
Yeah, I just, not to harp on it too much, but I think of like the River Valley League, like Norte Vista had a great year. They won their league championship, and then they go on the road in Division 4 to the top seed, Loyola, and then Ramona, an at-large team, the fourth place team, and they win a bunch of championships, which is great. It's great for them. It's just kind of a weird format that we're living in right now. It's like you either have a great regular season or you barely sneak into the playoffs and you have a chance to make a long run.
Yeah, and it's all just based on the rankings and the formula. I mean, last year we had to go to Lusinger, who wasn't the league champ, and then the team that was the league champ in their league, they were on the road. So it's bizarre, But again, it's all based on rankings. we have no control over it. So, I mean, again, you can complain, but what good's it going to do? I mean, it's not going to change.
I think at the very least, if you win your league championship, at least start out at home, right? At the very least, if you win your league title.
I mean, you should, but what if you're matched up against another league champion? Then what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, because it's all based on the numbers, you know?
Yeah.
And the original thing is, like, this is what we all do. We're all like, especially those of us who are in those top 3 divisions, it's like, okay, how many are they going to put in Division 1? Because that determines everybody seating, all the way down.
Yep.
Like I said, I remember Nick and I 2 years ago going, oh, if they do this, but if they take 10, we're playing each other. And then they took 10, and I was like, I can't believe that just happened. You don't even think it's going to happen. But again, other things we don't have control over.
Yeah, it is what it is, and you just play with whoever's in front of you. Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal right now. Well, Coach, listen, I know it's a crazy time of the year. Your nights are long. You just ran home right now to get on the show, so I do appreciate it. So best of luck. Hopefully you guys do some good things in that scrimmage, and best of luck against Etiwanda coming up in week 1 next week.
Absolutely. Appreciate you as always, Pep. You're the man.
Yes, sir. Kurt Bruich, the head football coach for the Citrus Valley Blackhawks here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. Always enjoy breaking it down with Coach Bruich at Citrus Valley. Again, a scrimmage this week against Riverside Poly, and then it starts for real the following week with a big game in week 1 against Etiwanda. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to check in with one of the teams that's going to play in week 0, the Liberty Bison, coming off a league championship. Now they're in the Ivy League, and they're going to have some really good competition. It begins in week 0 against Temecula Valley. So when we come back, one of our favorite dudes here on the show, Adam Contreras, head coach at Liberty. And then we come back here on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. We'll be right back. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down and see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
Is it important to have your kid on the A-team? Absolutely not. If you have some serious goals for your young athlete, don't forget to focus on the bigger picture. Instead of trying to get them on the A-team, focus on finding them a good coach. Coaches who attract the best players aren't always great developers, whereas a coach who can instill what your child needs to reach their potential, that's priceless. Boost man.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today.
Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. More high school football here as we are in week 0. So the regular season beginning this week. A bunch of games on Thursday, a whole lot on Friday, and a couple more on Saturday night as well. One of the games coming up in week 0 is the Liberty Bison taking on the Temecula Valley Golden Bears. And one of our favorite coaches in the area, of course, Adam Contreras at Liberty High School. The Bison coming off a great season, but now they move to the Ivy League, and the Ivy League will be even tougher as Liberty trying to get that, not only their first playoff win, but maybe a playoff run for the Bison this upcoming season. So let's talk family and football with Adam Contreras with the Liberty Bison right here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show as we get all set for week 0. Man, can't believe it. We've got Liberty head coach Adam Contreras. And coach, you're a family guy. I'm a family guy. Listen, you've got a very interesting necklace on right now. I'm sure there's a tie to your wife or your kids or something like that.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me on, Pep. Yeah, so my son Ranger made this for me. And so his name's on there. My daughter, Remy May, her name's on there. So kind of the backstory is he has an amber necklace. My daughter has an amber necklace for teething, and my wife has a necklace. And so he said, hey, Dad doesn't have a necklace. What's going on? So he made my wife go to the supply store, the art store, and next thing you know, I have this. So I wear it all the time, man. I love it. I heard it's pretty popular. It's like a Taylor Swift thing. So I guess I'm
hold on. Is that the headline here? Like Coach Contreras is a Swiftie?
No, I'm not a Swiftie, but I'm a poser Swiftie fan. So I love their old stuff, but no, I'm not a Swiftie.
Yeah, I have to remind my own kids. I'm like, hey, you're too young to remember this, but she started out in country because I'm a country guy. I love country music. And
yes.
I'm like, her first couple of hits were country, and then she, went pop and went mainstream and ditched country. But so I remember the first couple were okay because they were country.
Absolutely. Teardrops of my guitar. Yes, those are back in my day there.
Yeah. So you're going to wear that on the sidelines come Friday night?
100%. My son Ranger would be very mad and disappointed if I don't have this on. So if I don't wear it, he lets me know. So yes, this necklace will be making an appearance in every game.
That's awesome. I'd rather talk family than football with you, Coach. Now I'm curious. I don't know if I've actually asked you this before, but the name Ranger, where did that come from?
Yes, for being from Texas, literally my wife and I, we go out there a couple of times a year or so, have family, and we're driving, we're looking for cool names. And so, we drove by the Rangers Stadium, and I'm a Ranger fan. And then what solidified it was we're driving home, and we drive through Ranger, Texas. So down the 40 there, city of Ranger, Ranger College is out there. And so, man, let's do it. And then the one thing, or another thing that even solidified it even more, was her grandfather was Claude Akins, a famous actor. And one of his TV shows, he played Ranger Cottonwood. And so all the grandsons' names, they're all named after one of either his characters or one of his shows. So Kane Mutiny, my nephew, his name is Kane, so named after that show. So Ranger just fit right there. So.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that story. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So that's now you know.
And before we get to football, because I promise we will talk Bison football, how is the family? Everything good? I know this is a crazy time of the year for head coaches out there.
Yeah, my wife is probably happy I'm going back to work and all starting, because so my wife's a stay-at-home mom. I mean, she does everything, man. Bless her soul. She's way better than I am. And so she has her own system down. And I came home, for summer, and I just ruined it. And so my son's staying up later, my daughter's staying up later. I'm wrestling at like 9 p.m. with my son, and she's like, hey, it's time to go to bed. So she wants me back at work and at football. And But no, on a serious note, it's great. The family's great. They were there at our scrimmage this last week, and my son loves being there. My daughter, she just started walking, so she's cruising around in her Bison gear, and so yeah, they're great.
That's an awesome age, man, and enjoy it. Soak those years in for sure. Well, Coach, you mentioned your scrimmage. In fact, I can't remember who you guys scrimmaged against, but I remember there were some pretty big names there. Like, who did you scrimmage against, and what did you like about the Bison in that scrimmage?
Yeah, so we ended up scrimmaging. It was a 5-way. So Hemet was fortunate enough to, we're fortunate enough to let us in. So Hemet, Lakeside, West Valley, and Palm Desert. And so it was kind of a round robin. And so, yeah, we, our guys, we have a lot of new guys this year. And so, we wanted to see how they would respond and to a varsity, again, scrimmage, but, varsity's type football. And they did pretty well. We're a little, I would say we're on the physical side. One of the things that we really focused on this offseason is the flying around. We get an interception and, take it to the house. Offensively, we're going to run the ball. And I thought we did that pretty well, at times in the scrimmage. And, just little things we need to clean up here and there. Having our quarterback, Anthony Quinones, being able to throw the ball there. We have a couple good receivers, and we're able to throw it deep a couple times and get some home runs. And so, so some good things. Again, need to clean up some stuff across the board, but, that's why you have the scrimmage to kind of see those things, and we're able to work on those things, this week in preparation for TV.
Well, Coach, you mentioned a couple, in the passing game, some home runs, but of course, you're going to run the football, and your heritage roots, kind of goes back to those days. And you were telling me a couple of heritage legends, right? Jamal Morrow, Sherrod White. I mean, there's been some great running backs to go through heritage, and those guys are right at the top of the list. They're at Liberty now helping you coach. Is that correct?
They are Bison. And so when they hit us up, say, hey, I want to start coaching. But, hey, come on over. And so, man, the energy that those guys bring, and they're not the only ones. There's another guy named Dylan Morris, Dylan Dickey, and then even the Samaya. So we have a lot of heritage guys there. These young bucks, man, are running around, and the energy that they bring, man. And then, our running backs are just they're gaining a lot of knowledge from, like you said, legends.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. It's been fun to see it happen, and we enjoy it. During our breaks when the kids are getting water, we just joke around, we're laughing, and it's fun. It's fun with those guys.
I talked to Jamal not too long ago. I mean, he was in the CFL, I think, as of last season. I don't know if he was playing this year, but I mean, he was still playing.
Yeah, so he just had, he had some, I think he broke his wrist, and so he just had surgery recently to remove the pin. So he may be gone any day now back. And so that's why I told the guys, like, hey, you need to learn from this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's still in it. So he could get called up to Canada any day now. And, so he's still going.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, play as long as you can, for sure. Well, Coach, here in week 0, you got Temecula Valley. Traditionally, they're always pretty good. The Golden Bears, I mean, without giving away your secrets, what do you think you guys have to do well to get a win on Friday in week 0?
Yeah, they're watching them. Yeah, they're pretty big. They're pretty big, man, and they have some athletes, a good quarterback. For us, it's just kind of the message has been all year. I know it's cliche, but taking care of our, of what we do and really dial in what we do. Obviously, with Broach, if it ain't Broach, don't fix it.
Is he still around?
He's still around, believe it or not. Broach is still around, man, and
can't give it up.
Yeah, this is how dedicated he did the scrimmage. He went up to northern Arizona to go drop off his daughter. She's going to NAU, and then drove back 15 hours just to be here for practice. So, man, if that's not dedication, man. And so he's just, I think he's loving it. He really is. And we're loving him out there. So, again, he's going to get the offense dialed in. Defensively, if we can, play fundamentally sound football and rally to the ball, I think if we do those things, it should put us in a position to be successful. But again, man, anytime you play one of these big West schools or, the old Southwestern League schools, like, man, it's going to be a battle. So our guys are pumped up for it, just again, from week 0 from the get-go.
And Coach, finally, you guys have a Mountain Pass League title under your belt, but now you guys go to the Ivy League, and it's just going to get tougher. There's some really good teams, in the Ivy League, of course, with Orange Vista and Rancho Verde, just to name a few. But, in terms of the Liberty program and the evolution of the program, do you feel like, the Bison are kind of like Heritage, ready to take that next step? I know Heritage dominated the Sun Belt League for a long time, and they started winning CIF titles. I mean, you guys had a great year last year, but obviously you want to keep, trending in the upwards direction, right? And go farther in the playoffs and do those sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a sense of expectation here at Liberty, with our principal, Dr. Tejeda, and, our athletic director, Scott Moore. The leadership there and the expectation that they hold us to and the community holds us to is, we're looking to go into a very tough Ivy League, a stacked Ivy League, even with, Vista del Lago and North, and then,
Paloma's in there, I think. Is that
the
right?
Marine School over there. Those guys are great. I know all the coaches over there. And so it's tough, man. But again, those seniors who graduated last year and the seniors this year kind of helped pave the way and set a foundation for our guys. And so now, these guys coming in, who are junior seniors, they had somebody to look up to, and again, the proper way of doing things, and kind of creating a winning tradition where they don't know any different. And so bringing in Coach Dickey to run our weight room, our guys are getting stronger, to be able to withstand the week in, week out tough games that we're going to be facing in the Ivy League. So our guys are ready for the challenge. They've been working hard. I know our coaches are pumped up. Our community's pumped up about it. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes, man.
It's just crazy. Like, I just think when we talk Liberty football, we're like, oh yeah, they're one of the the better teams in the area. And you guys just had your first senior class. Like, you guys just burst onto the scene. Like, you're not that old.
Yeah, we're still spring chickens here at Liberty, man. we are, but new teams don't do this. And again, like going back to Coach Bruich, like he's done it before, and he had the roadmap and the recipe, and so we all just kind of bought in, and obviously I'm the head coach now, but like really having him there, it's it's a nice sounding board to have that if I'm ever questioning everything, but. Yeah, again, the success is a testament to, we talk about the herd family with, our kids that are just buying in and working hard, our coaching staff that just, love being around these guys and, put these high expectations on these kids. And then, our leadership and our community that just back us. We had our herd ceremony where we put, decals on our helmets, and the stands are packed, and it's just. And so it's just the community, the Bison community, man, it's been awesome. And it kind of helps us, propel this program to the next level. And, we're going to have to get there because we yet to win a playoff game. And so, and we want to make a
Liberty, and I think you guys are set up to have a big season. The Ivy League's tough, no doubt about it. But you guys, I think, are set up to have a pretty good season. Hopefully get that first playoff win as well, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, Pep, I appreciate it. Always good talking with you. Again, we have our studio here, man. Anytime you're down in this area, man, you got to check it out. Like it's ready to go for you.
All right, off the air, get me in touch. I don't know if there's a video advisor or instructor or someone like that, but yeah, get me in touch.
Absolutely.
All right, that's Adam Contreras, the head football coach for the Liberty Bison here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
And a big thanks to Coach Contreras for the interview. Glad to hear the family's doing so well. And here we go into football. If you've seen kind of the common theme, at least on this show, man, it's been awesome to talk with Coach Contreras and obviously Coach Bruich at Citrus Valley. Good dudes, good family guys, and obviously great football coaches as well. When we come back here on the show, we got another great football coach. If you have not seen the interview on, Instagram or YouTube for Inland Sports, we had an interview with Elsinore head coach Randy Kirschman. So we're going to have a replay of that, an encore performance, plus the return of our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game, and we'll highlight some of the top games coming up in Week 0. We'll be right back on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.
Should your child lift weights before hitting their growth spurt? I get this question a lot from parents, and the simple answer is yes. Think of it as a long accumulation phase where athletes get modest gains in strength, power, and coordination. And when their growth spurt does hit, often it's to a larger degree than athletes who didn't lift weights at all. So remember, develop early, specialize late. Your boy, Bruce Man.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire. Inland Sports.
To circle back before we get out of here, did you see Caleb Williams this weekend? I know he had a little rough, and I know it's preseason just like we talked about, but he looked like young Russell Wilson scrambling and Patrick Mahomes in one person. I'm a little excited to watch Caleb Williams this year.
I'll take that and add one. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels for the Washington Commanders. Both of those guys, the top 2 picks in the NFL draft, have looked every bit of the part. Both those guys have looked great in their limited time, small sample size in the preseason, but both of those guys have looked great.
One thing very funny, one thing you mentioned about Jaden Daniels is he went to slide and he didn't do very well, and he got up and looked at his coach, and his coach was like, "Get down." It was a very funny moment because Jaden was almost like got up and was like, I'm sorry. Like, because clearly that has been a thing. Get down, dude, or you're going to get hurt in this league.
Hey, beyond touchdowns and scoring drives, the biggest thing this preseason is come out healthy. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, he has shown enough to maybe keep around and see what he could do really in a live regular season game against another starting defense. So
definitely
the Stetson Bennett era continues with the Rams. Now we go to the Raiders and more quarterback news. I'm telling you, Patrick, there's tons of stuff going on with QBs right now on this Monday morning across the NFL. The Raiders announcing on Sunday, even though they lost to the Dallas Cowboys 27-12 this weekend, but they announced on Sunday, Antonio Pierce, the head coach, saying Gardner Minshew, the pride of Washington State, Patrick, will be the starting quarterback for the Silver and Black coming up.
I know a lot of people don't believe in him, and of course I do. My goodness. It's kind of like the late, great Mike Leach says, hey, do you want to go be a backup at Alabama, or do you want to come lead the country in passing?
Inland Sports.
Hanging out with my boy Patrick in the morning on KCAL 96.7 FM every Monday and Thursday morning. So in between all that great rock music, you can check out some sports and hear what's going on here locally in Southern California and some Inland Empire stuff as well. That's KCAL 96.7 FM. All right, let's talk more high school football. Here we go in week 0, the return of the Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. And of course, next week, after we have week 0 in the books, we'll also make the return of the Boost Top 25 poll. We had the preseason poll last week on the show, and only Redlands and Beaumont have played. They had those week 00 games in Hawaii. Beaumont picked up a close win, 19-16 against Kamehameha, and Redlands took a tough loss to Radford. So those are the only 2 games so far as we go into week 0. So we will update the Boost Top 25 poll next week on the Inland Sports Show. With all that said, here we go. Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. It's a doozy. It's a rematch of last year's CIF Southern Section Division II quarterfinal game in which Murrieta Valley beat Rancho Cucamonga in double overtime, and it was a controversial goal line play, and the Nighthawks winning by 1 to advance in the playoffs. So the last time these 2 teams played, it was against one another in the playoffs, and now we get the rematch. Of course, Rancho Cucamonga's had a change at head coach. Nothing but the best. Thoughts and prayers with Brian Hildebrand as he deals with some health issues, but it's going to be a great game between the Nighthawks and the Cougars. Our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. All right, here's a couple other big ones coming up in week 0. Centennial versus Mater Dei, maybe your CIF Southern Section Division I championship game preview. Maybe, right? As they're going to go head-to-head here in week 0. They're playing the first game of the year, might play the last game of the year as well. Beaumont taking on San Jacinto. This is, I guess, unofficially a rivalry game, but still a great one. The Jack is loaded, and of course Beaumont coming off a big double week 0 win in Hawaii. Redlands losing in Hawaii, but now they get Citrus Hill. We put this game on here because Citrus Hill, they're going to see the debut of Ron Geringer as the head coach of the Hawks. Coach G has won a lot of different places. We'll see if he can get the Hawks going back in the winning direction at the Hill, Citrus Hill. King will take on Roosevelt as these Big West Conference schools collide. They have a lot of history, of course, from the Big 8 League days. Central taking on Harupa Hills as another new head coach makes his debut. The great Tommy Leach will make his debut for Harupa Hills. And, of course, Harupa Hills coming off that championship from last season, not only a CIF Southern Section championship, but also a state title. Cedos Martinez is now at Roland High School as Tommy Leach takes over. Apple Valley will take on Orange Vista, the Coyotes, your reigning CIF Southern Section Division 5 champions. They'll try to pick up where they left off against Apple, and of course QB Khalil Abdul Aziz, big-time stud under center. JW North and Ramona, a Riverside rivalry game. Ramona, like Harupa Hills, winning CIF and going on to win a state championship as well. So expectations big at Ram High this season. And finally, Norco versus Cajon. The Cougars are hungry to get back into the playoffs. They had made the playoffs every year for more than 3 decades, but fell out last year trying to get back there, and this would be a huge measuring stick for them to play a very talented Cajon team whose offense might be one of the best. Well, I know they are. They're one of the best in the IE. They're going to be right up there with some of these other teams like Centennial and Murrieta Valley. There's some great offenses out there, and Nick Rogers, I know for a fact because he came on the show and said it, he said this offense has a chance to be very special for the Cowboys. So those are some of the top games coming up in week 0 here in the Inland Sports Show coverage area. All right, the Elsinore Tigers, they will open up the season against Heritage, and Elsinore had that scrimmage at King High School with King and Hillcrest and Patriot. We had a chance to catch up with Elsinore head coach Randy Kirschman to talk about this year's team and Elsinore making the move from out of the Raincross Conference over to the Mountain Pass League. They were joined by their local rival, Temescal Canyon, both moving to the Mountain Pass. So here's Coach Kirschman of what he liked about the Tigers in that scrimmage, and then also getting ready for Heritage and moving to a new league in 2024.
Inland Sports. We are here with Elsinore head coach Randy Kirschman coming off this scrimmage here at King High School. And Coach, your Tigers got to see 3 different teams here at this scrimmage. What did you like? What did you guys do well during the scrimmage?
Yeah, I thought our kids really competed hard. They've been working hard in the off season. Our coaches have worked hard, and I just thought we competed really hard. And so I'm excited about what we got coming up.
Yeah, at least enough that you saw tonight to get you optimistic going into that Heritage about what you guys are doing right now.
Absolutely. I mean, you go against yourselves for so much in camp, and it's nice to exchange with somebody else because that's kind of the missing ingredient of when you really know what you have. So I'm really excited for that. I mean, like I said, these kids are ready to get paid for their work, and so it was a good night.
So without giving away all your secrets, going into week 0 against Heritage, what do you think the Tigers have to do well in that first game of the season to start 2024 with a win?
Well, certainly. I mean, we were sloppy. I mean, for all the great effort we gave, we were a little sloppy. Penalties, procedural things, right? Guys not going out on the field. So we got to clean all those details up. And so the good news is when you get a scrimmage like this, when, there's a lot of teams and things going on, we can kind of get through those growing pains. With a young team, we had graduated over 30 seniors. So, we're got to clean those things up, and we'll be ready to go.
And finally, Coach, you guys are making the move to the Mountain Pass League for this upcoming season. Does it do anything different? Is it just business as usual for you guys?
No, I mean, we get the opportunity to be in this league, and it's strong. I mean, that we're definitely not walking into some situation where it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, we've got some other Tigers, and, there's some great programs in Hemet and West Valley and Tahquitz, so, and obviously our rivals, TC. So we're excited, and, whoever we play against, right, it's an honor to get the opportunity to take the field.
All right, that's Coach Kirschman here with the Elsinore Tigers on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports.
All right, that was Coach Kirschman here on the Inland Sports Show. One quick reminder before we wrap up this edition of the Inland Sports Show. This coming Friday night, the Friday Night Pep Rally is back on Riverside TV. So if you want scores, highlights, interviews, analysis, join us. Myself and Jeff Gorham will be inside the Riverside TV studio beginning at 11 p.m. And we will go live until midnight, trying to show you as many scores and as much video as we can get our hands on. And of course, we'll have some exclusive interviews as well. That's on Riverside TV. So if you do not get Riverside TV, like me, you can always just go to the City of Riverside on YouTube, Twitter, and I think it's also on Facebook this season. So just find City of Riverside. That is Riverside TV, and you can get all your scores and highlights and interviews and analysis. That's every Friday night throughout the high school football season, beginning live at 11 p.m. until midnight. And of course, Riverside TV has their games of the week, so they broadcast games live. And then shortly after that, at 11 o'clock, you can get the Friday Night Pep Rally. So I think Jeff Gorham, my buddy here, was just texting me. The Riverside TV Game of the Week is actually 2 of them. It's going to be, JW North versus Ramona, and also Norta Vista against Silverado. So 2 live games on Riverside TV this week. And then again, Friday Night Pep Rally live at 11 p.m. Big thanks to our guests. You just saw Coach Kirschman, of course, Coach Bruich at Citrus Valley, Coach Contreras at Liberty High School. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're a local business or organization and you would like to support local sports, hit us up, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on any of our social media platforms. My name is Pep Fernandez. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.